Scott, I guess we'll start with a little bit of housekeeping. Notice that Logan Stanley wasn't on either of the list to skate today, and Dylan was on the main group, but Simon came over. I think we're keeping up, and we're almost 7 days before since you told us about Billy. So I guess, do you want to start? Who do you want to start with?
Simon's our swing guy. He's the guy that we pull out of the bullpen. That
Simon says.
Yeah, actually Stan tweaked something there. So he's actually we're going to get a little more of a look at him. So he won't be available to us for the next few days here. We'll kind of see where we're at here. We'll talk tomorrow, and then I'll let you guys know where it's going.
How about Dylan?
Dylan, that was more maintenance after last night. He got a little bit of a bump from last night, and that was kind of he's playing tomorrow. So I just wanted to make sure that he's good to go. He's not hurt enough that he is going into tomorrow's game where he's not 100%. So that's am I hit them all?
And Billy,
yeah, and Billy. Obviously, Billy, he had his surgery, so that'll be a timeline on that. We'll just obviously we'll wait and see on that one. But he had the surgery, and it's hopefully that's a quick recovery.
Boy, all of a sudden, I think the left side is the port side in navigational terms. Either way, anyway, on that left side, all of a sudden things have gotten a little more wide open, haven't they?
Yeah, it's like I've talked about, you don't know where you're at day to day, where we're going to be next week. So you got to get guys up and going. And now for, Coughlin, Fleury, now it's another opportunity for those guys to step up. Sullivanson, and then Lundy. Lundy went in, found out 5 minutes before warm-up that he was going in, and did a fantastic job. So, like I said at the very beginning, there's opportunities. They come in different ways, and those guys just are doing a great job of taking advantage of it.
When you talk about hoping for a quick recovery, can you give any idea what that timeline is looking like on Billy?
It's probably it's minimum 4 weeks. Like we'll see where it goes from there, but I'm not 100% how long it'll be because he took the pin out of his ankle, so. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not 100% on how long that will take. I think it'll obviously depend on as long as there's no swelling and infection, then go from there.
If there's anything to be read into Brad Lambert having the game he had last night, ending up in the second group here today, what's to be read into that?
There is nothing into it. Don't make more than what it is. I told you before that the veterans weren't playing in the first 2 games. They got to get their reps. These are the guys that, and he may be a part of it at the start of the season in October 9th. The big guys got to get their reps. He's playing again tomorrow. He didn't need to have what those guys got today. He's been great on everything he's been doing. Chibi's going in. Solomonson's going in. These guys, it's all part of kind of making sure that I get the reps out of our big guys. Those guys are giving me lots of opportunities to see them play, and they're going to continue here moving forward. So there's nothing other than the fact that I just wanted to be a little bit lighter load for them because they are going to go back and play tomorrow.
Yeah, largely he's faced American Hockey League level type lineups and that sort of thing. So I guess as a coaching staff, and even from his perspective now, the excitement is what can you do against a closer to an NHL caliber lineup? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we're going to get a pretty good lineup in Minnesota tomorrow and next week against Calgary. So it will be it starts to ramp up a little bit. That's all part of, again, like he's learning as he goes here, from, like I said, from 2 years ago, last year, now every day for him in camp here has been a growth day and a learning day, and he's been real good at it, and we'll just put the next obstacle in front of him and see how he handles it.
In that main group skate, Scott, you had a number of drills where, the quick up and then that quick pass at the blue line to hit the guy cutting through the middle, and boy, I tell you, Cole, his hands are as good as they ever was. He seemed to really stand out, particularly in those drills.
Well, that's kind of a little bit, we're talking about playing faster. We're talking about doing things quicker and a little bit on the entries. You kind of look at this league, how things kind of sort of play, how teams defend now. So there's some areas, without giving away all our secrets, there are some things that we want to do, and it allows us to keep playing fast. And that underneath bump play is a big one. It's kickouts to speed. We scored a couple of goals last night off the rush that were real nice that kind of we've picked up off of what we did in practice. So that's just part of the building. Fetz, he's a skilled offensive guy, and, like if I've mentioned yesterday or the other day, when he gets a chance to make plays, he usually does.
Scott, when Connor Hellebuyck, at the end of last year, well, it's 2 Connors. Yes, when Hellebuyck talked at the end of last season, he was sort of wearing his heart on his sleeve at that point and said, he can't do it alone and that sort of thing. Kind of walked back a bit of that this year, saying like, if it's not broke, why fix it type thing. Like, that's how he sort of prepares. What was your message is what I'm asking to like him over the summer? Like, how do you want him to sort of view his role? Because he feels, I guess, that a lot of it's on his shoulders, right?
I think anytime you got a true number one goaltender, they do put a lot of weight on themselves, and you've seen a lot more tandems, so they don't have to be quite that way. But Helly, he wants to play 82 games, and he takes a lot of responsibility for what happens. And like you said, he when it comes to the playoffs, that he looks at that we could have played a heck of a lot better in front of him, and how he grades himself, we're moving on. And we talked this summer a few times. We talked about him staying at that at that level that he's been at and winning us games when maybe we shouldn't. That's just him. He's done that ever since he's been in the league. Once we eliminate 8 teams and then we get the playoffs, now it's the next level for him. Now he has to make sure that he beats that other goaltender in the other end of the rink, and that's just something that we'll leave for another day. But we did talk about when we get to that point, there's another level that he has to go to as well. So.
He talks a lot about mindsets and stuff like that. Is that a mindset that
I stay out of that goalie conversation there as much as I can. They have their whole different minds. So, no, he is.
Reach for a different level.
Yeah, you know what? It's fun because he called me there a couple of weeks ago and asked if in training camp if we could do a few more of this, and then yesterday he asked, "Hey, don't forget to throw this in there," and so. I'm getting little bits and pieces of him all the time but he's always thinking about stuff, about different things that may happen in a game, that may happen. There's some looks maybe he hasn't seen in a while, and he wants to see it in practice. No, he's a student of the game. He's a guy that knows his own body extremely well and how he prepares for the season. Just the fact that he's played so many games over his career so far, and had the success he's had. And I try to stay out of that lane as much as possible.
You've had a week into camp?
You know what? Probably I had mentioned at the start about the depth that we had. We had to go out and get ourselves some depth, and I'm very impressed with. I know what we have with our elite players, but I'm really impressed with whether it's Moose guys, whether it's guys we brought in free agency, whether it's young kids coming out of junior. I've been very impressed with guys. The 2 exhibition games that we played with a lot of the kids. Some kids showed me a lot of what they're able to do and bring to the table. And then again, like I just mentioned, those other guys that are getting ice and getting opportunity. That part's been pretty rewarding. That I feel very comfortable that no matter what lineup we kind of put out here in this couple of weeks here, that these guys are going to go out and play hard and do what they need to do.
We didn't see Colin Miller, obviously, when you joined the team last year in terms of game action, but what is it that stood out to you about him early on in this training camp?
Yeah, you know what, we talked about it, him and Stan there, the Edmonton game, they hadn't played 25 minutes in a very long time, and last game Colin felt that it was more towards what he'd be kind of seeing in the sense of ice time, but also playing with top players. And he has a skill set that has kept him in the league for quite a while here. Obviously, we know he's got a great shot, but he's very versatile in the sense you can use him on your power play, use him on a penalty kill. He's got a bite to him. He's got a little bit of an edge to him when he plays too, and he's also a veteran guy. So, he's kind of keeps losing his left partner here. So he's going to have to break in another one here in the next couple of days. Him and Fleury will be together tomorrow. So, but he's been good. He's really number one. He wanted to come back here, which is big, and I certainly appreciate that. And he's a professional, and you love having those guys on your team.
What you liked about the other guys in that fight, I guess. I don't even know if it's a fight anymore because it's sort of something. But like Fleury and Coughlin too. What have you liked about? You talked about depth and that sort of thing.
I don't have to say anything to those two. They're seeing what's happening with the injuries, and all of a sudden now their eyes are probably getting a little bit bigger. And that's, like we said, we wanted to have depth in all positions so that just in case, and I really wasn't hoping it was going to happen this quick, but now for those two, that's a chance. Go put your best foot forward, show us what you're good at, be consistent at what you do, and hopefully the results help you make our hockey team.
Back to Lambert, there was a draw he took against Lowry the other day, and we know Lowry's a man. Gave him, kind of tossed him pretty quick there. You could see the kind of surprise on Lambert's face. I wonder where you see him right now as far as his ability to handle the physicality of the NHL and the men.
He's way stronger than he was last year. You can see it, and that isn't by going in and throwing a barbell around. That's more by leverage. That's more by getting body position. I don't know if anybody's going to win any kind of battles against Lowry, but with Lambeau, it's just he's gotten a little bit smarter. As I've said for the last couple of days, these guys, the longer they're around the pros, longer they're in these situations where they're kind of facing these kind of things like that, those battles, they learn how to. Good players learn how to take the next step, and he's getting there. He's really is getting there, and that's all you want to see with young kids.
You touched on Neil Pionk last night. I mean, what's the benefit for you knowing, like, you know, saw his first NHL training camp and have seen his progression?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I remember when Neil came in, played some games for us in New York, and you know, had a great college career, and you know, he's a very confident, and he's a really heady kid. He's got, you know, it's interesting because he was more, and I think even when he got here, he was more of a quarterback, first power play kind of really, and now he's a heck of a penalty killer. But he still is a power play guy, but he's a really good penalty killer. You know, he's a top 4 defenseman, and that's just he takes a lot of pride in his game. And you know, the other thing too, he's a great teammate, like I said, and you know, he's loved amongst his peers, and he's a big part of you know, our leadership group.